What is up, everyone, and welcome to the Random Encounter Podcast, episode 137. I'm your host, James, and I'm joined by the Dress Fear Master, the Dominant himself, Bryant.
Live from the Gestural Sacred River.
And we got the fanboy himself, Phaneckswhy.
What's up? What's up?
And of course, the Great Ace Attorney, Ash Destroyum, who loves cabbages.
Yep, absolutely.
For those of you, or for our actually, I should say for our audio listeners only, Ash has the cabbage guy from Avatar. He has a shirt of him, so hopefully everybody here seen Avatar, the real Avatar, not blue people Avatar, but the real Avatar.
Well, I hope they get that reference soon.
What are you talking about, James? It's the Cabbage Patch Kid. James has a Cabbage Patch shirt on right now. That's such a weird shirt to come to the podcast with today, Ash. Why are you doing?
No, I have the best,
audio listeners don't know.
The best hoodie on right now. I got the man himself hoodie.
I don't know who that is, but okay.
That is Ash knows who this is, right? You know who my hoodie is?
Does it
says
Puma?
I gotta maximize.
Well, it's Puma collab.
That's Shanks. That's Shanks.
Yep. Shanks. Yep. One Piece. The one that a lot of people say he's a fraud because he's known as the strongest person or one of the strongest people in One Piece, and he doesn't do anything. Which he has a couple times in the recent episodes. But yeah, throughout the whole series, he's just like he's there and everybody's scared of him and he doesn't fight. They're just scared of him. So.
He's already proved himself a little bit because like he've already like showed off his hockey against Whitebeard and in like in the far early episodes and stuff. Like
when he walks on the ship strong. And everybody
they like shook the whole ship and everyone just shaking. I'm like, yeah, like that should showcase how strong Shank is truly. So
yeah,
I don't know if people call me a fraud for. People don't read.
Yeah, Brian doesn't know what hockey is. Hockey is like they have different
it's
abilities.
A game with a puck on the ice.
There's different abilities of hockey, and Shanks has one where he's just so strong that when he gets close to people, they just fall to the floor and they can't do nothing. They basically tremble in fear. So there's a scene where he arrives to one of the other pirates, Whitebeard, and once he gets on the ship, everybody just falls down to the floor. All the low-ranking like soldiers, or pirates, they all like just fall to the floor and can't do anything.
Now, James,
don't get any. The way you describe that, dude, it makes it sound like teenage girls meeting like the Beatles.
Well, I guess they tremble. They tremble in fear. There we go. I don't know how would you.
I was
going to
say, James, don't expect us to do that when we come into the Discord for the podcast every time, right? Like, don't expect that.
Well, his hockey's just so strong, you just fall to the ground. Man, you never know. But to give more context about Whitebeard himself, Whitebeard was is one of the emperor, like the pirate emperors. I forget the whole terminology for it, but he's essentially like one of the strongest pirates to ever live and stuff.
Warlords of the sea.
Yeah, it's one of the 7 warlords. Yeah, the emperors are the new people.
7 warlords. Yeah. So the fact that Shanks can do that, that should speak a lot. So.
With one arm, he only has one arm.
One arm. Yep.
Anyways, this is not an anime podcast. This is a gaming podcast. So we're gonna go ahead and start diving in with our. We're gonna dive in with what we've been playing. We haven't done that in a while.
He wouldn't have lost his arm to a dang fish.
I think he did it on purpose. He knew that the anime trope: you lose a body part, you become stronger. That's just your average anime trope. Anyways, we're gonna start with what we've been playing. I'm gonna go first because I'm playing a game that Bryant loves so dearly. And I restarted it recently because I made a promise. So you know what? I told Brian I was going to finish Final Fantasy 16, never did. But this game I will finish because I need to. And I restarted playing Death Stranding and I had the free version on Epic Game Store. Then I realized it wasn't the director's cut. So I went and asked Brian, is it worth it? And I remember there was a couple things that they added to the director's cut. So I was like, all right, you know what? We'll go ahead and play the director's cut. So I bought it on Steam. They had it on sale. And yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. I'm enjoying it more now, maybe because it's that portable form factor, and I can just lay down and relax in bed. But
it's a very zen game.
Yeah, it like you're walking a lot, you're walking a lot, but then, like that first mission where you have to incinerate the body, and then you have to leave there, and they have the, what are they called? The, BTs, right?
Mhm.
Which is funny, I found out that BT stands for beach things, which is,
Correct.
because I always wonder, like, what is BTs and stuff like that? Beach things. I'm like, oh, okay.
Bluetooth.
Yeah, Bluetooth, right? But like, yeah, you have that part, and I remember on the PS5, I went through that with ease. For some reason, this time around, I was just getting like, I almost got caught so many times. I don't know why. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? But I didn't get caught, and I was able to go through that. I didn't realize. I thought there was a path built by, because other players build paths for you. I thought there was stuff left by other players, not realizing that Igor is the guy who dies in the beginning. Um, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." I thought it was a player that built the path for me, but no, it was just that's always there, regardless of where you're at. And then that makes sense why the rope and everything is always in the same spot on both PS5 and on Steam. But anyways, yeah, I've been playing Death Stranding. I'm excited to go further into the game.
Have you
Uh,
unlocked a vehicle yet?
I have not, no. So I just
Okay,
finished
when
it.
you unlock the vehicles, that's when it opens up and you're really gonna fall in love with it, I think. That's the key.
So I just finished like that incinerator part. Got the mission. Was told to go west. And yeah, and I'm basically starting my way. So I just left the city again, or whatever you want to call it, to go west. So I don't think I gotta go to what the first waypoint, I think it is, or something like that. I forgot, but I know that's where I was with the PS5 because there was a section where there were like I don't know what they're called. What are they're like they're bad guys. I don't know what they are. I don't know if
They're
there's
like
like
bandits.
yeah,
I
bandits.
forget
There we
what the
go.
exact name is, but yeah, they're bandits, yeah.
Yeah, so I remember going through a mountain path, and then there was a bunch of bandits there. So that's kind of where I'm almost at. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. Like I haven't played a story-driven game to that extent in a long time. And going back into it, I was like, yeah, I like it, and I'll be more excited to see a movie, and hopefully they actually get the same cast to come back. Because I don't think that's been confirmed. I was watching a recent video with Norman Reedus, and he said that he knows nothing about the movie. He knows that they're making a movie. He knows Kojima's involved, but he says he knows nothing else about the movie. So it almost got me worried. Like I doubt Kojima's the guy to be like, yeah, we're gonna replace you with a different actor. I think he would use the same actor, but who knows? But yeah, I'm enjoying it.
It's all gonna come down to the vehicles, the vehicles, the vehicles. Because I liked it when I
Hmm.
played it the first time, but then when you get the vehicles and you can start like easily putting cargo on the vehicles and you can do a bunch of deliveries in one shot and just like hit here, hit here, hit here, and everything's in perfect condition, and then you start building the highway, and then you start when you get the vehicles, that's when the game opens up. That's when I expect you're really gonna start investing into it. So keep on trucking. You're getting close to unlocking your first vehicle. I want to say it's a motorcycle, I
Okay.
think. And yeah, I'm looking forward to when you get the motorcycle the first time and you can start traveling with good speed, and then you start to kind of get into the kick of the game.
When did you get a gun?
Pretty soon after that, I think too. Although I only really used the guns when I was trying to go for my platinum run, and I
Hmm.
just had to like get through all the bandit stuff, and I was just trying to get through everything to get the platinum. But like in the general gameplay, I didn't use the guns very often.
Hmm.
I snuck up on people, and because if you use guns and you have lethal ammo, you have to dispose the bodies, otherwise it causes a void out, and then the game like resets. So it's
Yeah.
kind of annoying.
Hmm.
But yeah, you get a gun soon, and you can use it as you will.
Mm. And then, because I know the guns you can also use on the BTs too, right? Or no?
Yeah, you can get BT ammo. Like it's like ammo that's made of your blood or piss, I think, and then
Okay.
you can kill them with that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I do remember
and like
seeing like
piss
somebody's
grenades.
review. Yeah. I remember seeing like one of those reviews where you can get that and do combat with BT. So yeah, I'm excited to go further
Yep.
in. It's nice to have beaten that, and the game I beat before that was Resident Evil Revelations. Revisiting that, I really like it. Like it's short and sweet, and it definitely brought. I mean, I think at that time Resident Evil 6 maybe came out or was coming out. I don't remember. I think it already came out. It was nice to see Resident Evil go back to kind of like its old. They just brought Resident Evil back to like Resident Evil 4 slash Resident Evil 3 type. So it's like you still have some action based elements, but you still have the horror elements in there. And I really liked it. It was really, really good. I enjoyed Resident Evil Revelation. If you haven't played Revelations, highly recommend it. It's one of the better Resident Evil games. If anybody says that it's not good, they probably just never played it because it is really good. When you compare, especially when you compare it to like 5 and 6, or Revelations 2. Revelations 2 is not that great, but Resident Evil Revelation 1 is really good. Let's go with Fan. What have you been playing?
Nothing really. I'm still slowly getting into Hogwarts again. Still,
Nice. Yeah, I've noticed that you haven't
nothing
been
new.
nothing new, just Hogwarts. How far have you gotten into Hogwarts?
Let's see. I got outside of the school, like way outside of the school, because you know how
Okay.
they have Hogwarts and then they have Hogsmeade,
Yeah.
and then they have they had another village like south of Hogwarts.
Okay.
So I got there, and there's like a little village, and I did some quests there, and I did my first battle against a bunch of goblins, like real battle against goblins.
Yeah. That's the only thing that has been bothering me about Hogwarts Legacy is like I did the school battles, like that little 2v2
Yeah,
that you do, which is
yeah, the
cool and,
dueling.
and fun. Yeah, exactly. But like I want to go outside and explore already, and I still can't. I'm still in the freaking uh the castle. What's it? Hogwarts. I'm still in Hogwarts.
Yeah, you've got
Yeah.
to
Who would
like
have thought?
complete some of
Yeah,
those quests
exactly.
because you get more. You'll get more like attack spells,
Mm-hmm.
and then once you get more of those attack spells, then you'll start going out.
Yeah, because I just learned the fire spell, I think, was the one that I learned, I believe. Don't remember. I think that's the one that I had to
Technically,
learn.
you can run outside now if you want.
Okay.
There's nothing stopping you. You could leave the school and just go run around outside if you want. Because I did
Okay.
that for a while, and I was running around fighting dark wizards.
Okay. I'm gonna have to
Like it
do
had
that.
nothing to do with any of my quests. Like I just ran outside and picking up like ingredients, and then on my little mini map, a bunch of red dots showed up. I'm like, oh, I wonder what these are. And then I run around like, oh, dark wizards, wolves, like tarantulas. Like I was just running around killing stuff.
Might have to do that then. That might make it a little bit more fun after I finish Death Stranding, though, because I promise I'll finish Death Stranding. Ash, what have you
'Cause
been
you can't
playing?
get to Donkey Kong until then. You
Yeah.
said.
Is Ash there or
Give
not?
me a second. I'm
Oh.
trying to fix.
Oh, you're good. We'll go to you, Bryant. What have you been playing?
Okay. I finished Claire Obscure Expedition 33. That's the main thing that I accomplished the past couple days, and the game stuck the landing so well. The only thing I'll say, and this I don't really think this is a spoiler, is that the end of the game has a choice, and so there is some. And the choice that I made, I really liked the choice. Like it's really haunting. But I talked to a friend of mine who was like, I really wish that Sandfall, because they had such a bold vision for this game, would have just stuck to their guns and had a
Definitive
it?
edition, like ending, like a
yeah.
clear ending.
What's the word?
A vision.
Like canon, like a canon ending, right?
Oh, okay.
Like I really wish that they would have been like, no, this is the ending, and you're gonna deal with it. And the fact that there's a choice, originally I was like, that's kind of cool. There's a choice because then you can kind of debate the like which way it went, and like, oh, I chose this because of this and this, and then the other thing is like, oh, I chose this because of this. But my friend was like, well, yeah, but you could have that conversation even if there wasn't a choice for the player, and he was right. You could still do it and be like, well, what if this would have happened instead? And you could have talked about the ramifications, and they still could have kind of had their canon ending. I still like the ending that I chose. I didn't go online and look up what the other ending is because I'm playing through it on PC right now, or I'm going to go back to playing it on PC, and I'll choose the other choice when I finish it on PC. But I love the game so much. I mean, like, I almost feel like I'm in a different universe of how much I adore this game. I remember when they showed the trailer for it last year or whatever, I really thought it was going to be exceptional, but then I played it and it blew my expectations away, which I didn't see coming. Just playing it, it just kind of hits me in this really beautiful, kind of haunting, kind of universal way. I can't really explain it, but just everything about it just comes together so perfectly, and I just really enjoy my time with it. So what really sucks though is that I'm absolutely getting the platinum in this game. Are you kidding me? Like there's no way I'm not getting the platinum. So but then I got Death Stranding 2 on the beach that just came out. And so I started that and I played it for maybe like 30 minutes to an hour, maybe hour and a half, and I really loved it, obviously, but I'm like, I can't do this. I cannot get into Death Stranding right now. I have to get the platinum because you know how it is. If I leave Expedition 33 and I go to Death Stranding and I take, a month or two off and I come back to Expedition, I'm going to get my ass handed to me and I'm not going to know how anything works anymore. And it's kind of the same thing, surprisingly, with Final Fantasy 16. You know how much I adore 16. I never went back to do the DLC because I tried once and it just felt totally alien to me. Like I almost felt like I had to start the game over again just so I could like get into the zen again of how to do the battles and the different icon powers and stuff. So I'm like, okay, I cannot let that happen again. I have to get this platinum. So all day today, I knocked out like 3 or 4 more trophies. I think I have like 18 more to go, mostly to do with like side quest stuff. I know that I haven't missed anything. That was the thing I was really concerned about, is that I didn't want to have any missables where I'd have to like go back and redo the entire game, and I didn't. So now it's just, I know there's a bunch of optional bosses I have to knock out that are really challenging, I guess. So I got to do that. Level up people's relationships, collect all the records that you can get, beat the bosses, and just cleaning up everything. So I'm hoping I can maybe knock out half by the end of the weekend. I hope that's not asking too much, and then maybe next weekend or the weekend after that, maybe I can finish it up, and then I can finally go back to Death Stranding. But seriously, Claire Obscure Expedition 33, 10 out of 10 game. I feel like a fool with how much I adore this game, because I feel like it's probably not healthy. But yeah, those are the 2 things that I've been playing, and I'm looking forward to getting back to Death Stranding 2.
Nice. I don't know how you can juggle around that and then always be on Mario every day. Super Mario 3D All Stars. Like I saw, like
I'm playing.
I go through and I see the
Mario games
list.
are quick, man.
Well, it's just like I see, and you have like 900 hours in Super Mario 3D All Stars. I was like, how is that possible?
Oh, I can't defend that.
I do a full playthrough of Super Mario 64 almost every day.
Yeah,
120 stars.
That's impressive. Like you finish it all in a day. Like that is
120 stars. Yep.
That's super impressive. Like I would play and then like I play and I maybe do like 5 stars a day, and that's it. Oh man.
I have a record I have a note in my notes app that and I make a note every day of the time that I finish it, and then I move on with my day.
Man, that's pretty awesome.
So I have like 77 records right now, but I've probably been doing it like a couple months before that even. But yeah, that's my jam.
Ash, what you've been playing?
I've just been trying out some like new games and stuff for the most part. Some friends of mine were telling me that the gacha game Persona 5 X came out.
Yeah,
I don't know when. I guess it recently or something like that. But I saw it was on Steam, so I loaded it on the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
Oh, this morning? Makes sense. Yeah, so I loaded it on the Steam Deck, gave it a run, and runs pretty damn good. I am thoroughly impressed on the performance. But then again, this is a mobile version of the game, so when you start playing it, you're realizing, damn, they really skimped a lot of the stuff that made Persona 5 great. But I'm still pulling through it. I'm just curious about the story itself and see where it goes from there.
Yeah.
I'm kind of upset that this is a gacha game because like now if the story does get good, you got to wait like a month for a monthly patch for the next part or something like that. That's just a me thing though. And then
yeah, I'm not playing it.
There was another game I was interested in was called Peak. It was like another co-op game that was recently popular and stuff. I had a friend of mine that bought the game off the Steam Family Library thing, so I tried it on my Steam Deck. And for once in my life, I decided to try out the 45 frame cap thing. 45 frames, meanwhile keeping the panel up to 90 hertz, and didn't realize how smooth it looked. And like the latency was actually pretty good as well. So I might be sticking with that for like majority of the games. If it's trying to hit 60 but it can't, I would just cap it at 45. So and then let's see, anything else. Still playing a little bit Rune Factory, Guardians of Ozma. Still a fun game, pretty addicting. I'm trying to not get sucked into it as much because there's like other backlogs that I need to finish up. Like Expedition 33, which my boss again reminded me, hey, did you finish the game? And I'm like, no, not yet. And so he's jokingly saying, hey, on your next performance review, I'm gonna mention this game if you complete it. And I'm like, come on, seriously, man. So yeah, that's I think starting this weekend, I'm gonna try trying to get back into it again and try to at least finish up Act 2 or something like that. So, which what it sounds like I'm pretty much close to it since I was talking to my boss about it and everything. So, other than that, that's pretty much it. I haven't even started up Rido yet because I already beaten and played the game already, so I'm already expecting what it is. It's just more me critiquing on like what remaster stuff they did with Rido at this point. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, Rido looks interesting. Definitely a game that I'll probably look at later on down the road. But I want to focus in all on Death Stranding and try to kind of get through it. How long is Death Stranding, Brian? Do you know?
If you, that's a good question. I mean, I 100%ed it and got the platinum, so it's probably like 100 hours or something like that. But if you're just mainlining the story,
Yeah.
I bet you could get it knocked out within 40 to like 30 to 45, probably.
Okay, so that's not
give
that
or
bad.
take.
So maybe with the way I play maybe like a couple hours at night. Depending on the night. So I can probably do in a couple weeks then, which would be nice. Just in time before Donkey Kong Bonanza, because I told you that's the goal. Beat the game before Bonanza, so I can jump into Bonanza. Then I have to beat Bonanza before what's it called? Metal Gear Solid Delta. 'Cause
3.
then that comes out in August, and I'm excited for that as well. So let's go ahead and talk about some small news. Starting off with something that Bryant just told us, hot off the press. Mario Strikers is coming to the GameCube Nintendo Switch Online on July 3rd. So very soon. That's what, next Friday? No, next Thursday, right? Yeah, next Thursday, because next Friday's 4th of July. So yeah, they I was wondering like when are they gonna do the first game? And you know what's funny? For some reason I was thinking, oh man, Fire Emblem's gonna be the first game, but I forgot Strikers was playable at the Nintendo event, so it kind of makes sense to just have it released to everybody else for it to be played. But I'm curious to see if Nintendo's gonna do like every month they come out with one new GameCube game on the list that they have, or are they just gonna kind of like spread it out and be like, okay, we have one in July, and you gotta wait till like September or something like that. It's kind of like Super Nintendo, where we got the games and it took a while for games to be added. They didn't really do it monthly. Then they started adding multiple games and so forth. Which there's still a lot of games they can add to those systems. Just saying, they just choose not to. Kind of like Chrono Trigger. Like Chrono Trigger would be great to add to Super Nintendo Online. Just saying. If Square Enix doesn't want to go ahead and do a remake or put it on multiple consoles, just go ahead and have it there on Nintendo Switch Online. Sure, a lot of
No,
people will
I
be
want to
happy.
buy it. I want to buy it. I
You
want to
wanna-
buy it. I don't
wanna
want to
own
have it
it?
on that.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't want you to own it though. That's the thing.
That's true.
Yeah.
Ash and I were talking before you came on,
Mhm.
James, that it's really surprising that this is the first one they dropped, considering that the sequel, for all intents and purposes, is already on Switch.
Yeah.
This is kind of just like a C+ game, like, or B-. Like it's good, it's fine, but I mean, out of all the gems on GameCube you could put on, like that's the
Yeah.
first one. Like Zelda, totally great. Soul Calibur, totally great.
Mhm.
Mario Sunshine, I'm kind of ambivalent because I have the All Stars
All
collection.
Stars, yeah.
Um,
And
but
it has
yeah, but the
widescreen in the All Star
Strikers,
collection.
I wonder if
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
because licensing issues. They have to get like approval from all those other developers, so they like it's
For the
easier if it's our
third-party
own
games?
IP.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's
But-
harder for them to like get. Maybe they have it lined up, but they have to get the okay first
Mhm.
before they can release it. And like, well, we have our own IP that we can just throw on here right away while we're waiting,
Yeah.
like in the wings for all these other stuff. Because let's say they do want to put, Eternal Darkness, right?
Who owns Eternal Darkness?
Well,
thought
Silicon Knights, I think, was the name of the
Okay.
developer, Silicon
Yeah.
Knights. But they were
Yeah,
a
but I don't
defunct
know if-
studio. They did that Two Human game,
Yeah, but
and
who
they
bought
then they
them,
were
though?
kaput. I don't know if anybody bought them.
Hmm.
I know that they were going to do a sequel to Eternal Darkness. Like somebody was going to do a sequel to Eternal Darkness, and the Kickstarter didn't reach its goal, so it
I
never
remember
happened.
that for the
but
Wii U. Yeah,
yeah,
I do remember that. Silicon
was
Knights.
it
Oh yeah,
Silicon
so they
Knights?
went bankrupt, but it didn't
Yeah.
say if anyone bought their IPs or anything like that at all. So I mean, that's going to be one of those
And have you played it?
weird things.
Have you played Eternal Darkness, Fan?
Oh, like when it came out on the GameCube originally, but that's like
Okay.
Oh wow, they did
decade.
Metal Gear Solid
So
Twin
good.
Snakes also.
Yeah, they did. Yep.
Oh, and Blood Omen. Oh well, they did the original Blood Omen, or maybe it's the port. It just says they were involved with the original Blood Omen Legacy of Kain game. Interesting.
Yeah, Eternal Darkness is a game again I can't say enough good things about. It's so good.
Yeah, and that's
It's
what
a
I'm
shame
wondering.
it's locked
Like
on GameCube.
the reason why Strikers, they release Strikers, are like it's their own IP. We can throw it in.
It's an easy
No
one.
issues.
Yeah.
You know,
Although it's a
an easy one
third-party
to throw.
developer, isn't it? I mean, it's their IP, but isn't it third-party developer did it? I think.
What do you mean? Like, did
Nintendo didn't make it, right? They just published it.
Internal Darkness?
Kind of like
yeah, they just published
no,
it.
no, not Eternal Darkness.
Oh.
Strikers.
All Strikers?
Yeah.
Good question. Let's find out.
It looks like it's developed by Next Level Games.
Yeah,
so
that sounds
Nintendo
right.
owns it now. Because Next Level's Luigi's Mansion. The team that did Luigi's Mansion now, and Nintendo bought them out like a couple years ago. So now it's owned by them. Because yeah, they Nintendo was big on for non like main IP games, giving the IP to like third parties. Golden Sun, right? Camelot is not owned by Nintendo, but they did the sports games, and then of course Golden Sun is a Nintendo IP, but Camelot is the one that actually made Golden Sun, or like Capcom and Zelda, right? Oracle of Ages, Seasons, Minish Cap, all were
Was it Link to
Capcom
the
games.
Past? Link to the Past, Game Boy Advance port of Link to the Past was developed by Capcom too, I think, wasn't it?
Was it? It might have been. Yeah, it might have been ported on there, and then the Four Swords was probably developed by Capcom. I would assume so.
Yeah.
But yeah, they also have, like I said, they have that big list that they showed off of like Fire Emblem, Pokemon Coliseum, Pokemon, what was it? Pokemon
Gale of Darkness?
Yeah, Gale of Darkness. What other games did they show? You said Sunshine already. I feel like they showed like 10 games, maybe not.
Showed like 10, yeah. Luigi's Mansion?
Oh yeah, Luigi's Mansion they showed off as well. I want to say, Chibi Robo was the other one that they showed off, and I think that was it.
Yeah. Did you say Fire Emblem Path of Radiance?
Yeah, Fire Emblem as well. Yeah.
Okay.
But that kind of puts into perspective too that there's that one that beat 'em up supposedly heard that there was gonna be a Nintendo Direct in July, and that Pokemon Coliseum was gonna be Shadow Drop. But if Mario Strikers is coming out July 3rd, then why would Nintendo Shadow Drop Pokemon Coliseum in July? Which makes no sense. So I still think we might get a Nintendo Direct in July based off the information that we got. Like, we were kind of researching it ourselves. We said on a couple podcasts ago where when the original Nintendo Switch launched a month later, they did a Direct. So it might follow that type of like thing where, okay, we had the June launch. Now in July, after Donkey Kong Bonanza, here's your Direct to see what's coming later on. Because outside of Mario Party Jamboree update and Kirby update, we really don't know what else is coming to Switch. I mean, there's Dragon Drive, right? That's what's called, Dragon Drive or whatever. There's that's coming out, but that's not a physical game. It's digital only. It's $20. That comes out in August. That's about it. Like, we don't know when Metroid Prime is coming out. It says later on this year. I kind of want to know when Metroid Prime is coming out. And we don't know what the future of Switch 2 is in general for Nintendo first parties. So, like,
I hope it comes out in like November or December to give them more time so they can shadow drop Metroid Prime 2 and 3.
That'd
give
be
people
nice.
to play those games. Like if they shadow drop that game like for $50 together, like I'd buy it.
I mean, I feel like
I just hope they don't put it on the GameCube Switch Online. I'll be so mad.
They would only be able to do 2 because 3's Wii.
That's
3's
true.
Wii.
Yeah,
that's true.
They're honestly, they're probably gonna just drop the second one on the GameCube and then do remaster 3 or something like that.
I mean, 3 is great. I really like 3, and 3 being remastered itself would be good for monitor controls. But it was fun. I really like 3.
just have the people that did the Metroid Prime remake. You know, I mean, they have all the assets already there.
What was the original team
Engine's already there.
that did it?
And that's what I'm saying. Like, just
Yeah.
have them, like, they have all the stuff there. They have the
Yeah.
people to do it. I mean, it wouldn't be too much harder for them because they've already did it once. They can do it 2
Yeah.
more times.
Well, because I'm sure, I think what they did was, what is it called? Retro. Is it called Retro? Yeah, it's just Retro Studios. Retro
Yeah.
Studios, they had a team work on that to kind of get the ins and outs of Metroid Prime again, and then they moved on to Metroid Prime 4. So I don't know if they would put some of that team back to Metroid Prime 2 and 3. Maybe, maybe not. Like, I do agree with
I mean,
everybody else,
4's
though.
gotta be done
Like,
by now. Like, it's gotta be, like, just
I'm
at the
sure it
debugging
is.
stage at this point, you know?
Yeah, hopefully at least. Well, I guess we'll find out if that direct ever comes true and we get a actual release date, and hopefully it's not delayed. Like, I doubt Nintendo will want to delay that game because Switch 2 needs some announcements. Nintendo needs some announcements for Switch 2. I have one theory though. Before we move on to our next topic, I have one theory, and I do think the genealogy of the Holy War is going to be announced soon. Here's why. Lately, on Nintendo Switch Online, right, you go through and they give you these articles. And when I go to I said Nintendo Switch Online, I apologize. Nintendo Today app. On the Nintendo Today app, they give you like these articles. So like you can like kind of like scroll through and they have like all these different little articles here. And today they didn't have one, but yesterday they had a character from Genealogy of the Holy War. I forgot who. The day before that, no, 2 days before that, they had Sigurd, who's one of the main characters of Genealogy of the Holy War. I was like, okay, you're going through the Genealogy of the Holy War roster. Again, in America, or in the West in general, nobody knows about Genealogy of the Holy War because that game never came over here in the US. It's Japan only. It was on Super Nintendo. And yeah, that's all we know about the game. Like people who've done like the fan translation stuff like that have played it and love it. But like there's not that much information for that. So like for your average Nintendo user, if they're going through, or even a Fire Emblem player who loves Fire Emblem, they might have not know these characters outside of Sigurd, who was in Emblem or Fire Emblem Engage. Why would they be showing these characters from their back to back? So like my theory is if the next character profile they show a Fire Emblem is another Genealogy of the Holy War character, then I think we're definitely gonna get a Genealogy of the Holy War remake announcement sometime soon. So we need that Fire Emblem. We haven't had Fire Emblem in like 2 years, so 2 years is a very long time. Anyways, let's move on to our main one of our main topics here. Let's go through the list there. I guess since we're on the topic of Nintendo Switch, a lot of controversy happening right now, and I want to keep this segment a little bit short because we've talked about it before, which is funny. Like 2 podcasts ago, we mentioned this, and now it's a big deal everywhere else. But we were talking about the display and how there is that blurriness going along with it, and like I've noticed it right away in Bravely Default and in Suikoden 1 and 2, which they, Digital Foundry was mentioning in 2D games, you notice it a lot. 3D games, you don't really notice it, which I mentioned also that I don't notice in like Mario Kart or anything like that, or Hogwarts Legacy, I don't notice it. But there is a blur effect, and that, like in 2D games, it is annoying, and I agree 100%. I think the people who are going crazy in the 3D side of things, I think they're full of it. They probably saw it, or they were testing it and then they see it and now they try to say, yeah, you can see it all like, I can see it all the time. No, you can't. Like, or maybe you can. Maybe you can. I don't want to rule that out, right? I don't want to sound ignorant to that there's people out there who could probably see it. But I think the vast majority of people don't really realize that. In 2D games, though, you can notice it quite a bit because I picked it out. I don't really have an eye for these things, but I definitely picked that one out. And I saw that right away, and it is very annoying. Digital Foundry said that the fix would be basically kind of like I forgot what the verbiage they use, but basically like overclocking the display so that it can run faster. Overdrive, there we go. Overdriving the display so that it can run faster. And a lot of monitors have that, right? So like a lot of monitors will say, hey, this panel is 185 or 185 megahertz or hertz, and without it being overdrive, it actually runs at a lower refresh rate. So I assume they would have to do something similar on the actual Switch 2 itself. It might cause, more power usage, meaning more battery drain, but I don't think it'll cost too much. Like it might be maybe in the minutes where you might feel it versus an hour, right? Because that would be bad. But what are you guys' thoughts on this? You think it's just being overplayed, or you don't care, or what? What do you guys think?
Um, I can't really speak too much on it. I mean, I was like watching some videos based on this topic. One of the tech YouTubers I watch, his name Hardware Unbox, but they have a
Hmm.
second channel called Monitor
Mon-
Unbox, I think it's
yeah.
called. Yeah. So and this guy, he is the most transparent dude you ever watch, and this dude was ripping the screen into shreds, man. I was like, damn, okay. I'm like, all right, because he had the evidence to back it up. He did all the research, did anything you can expect of from this panel. And honestly, I feel like I see his video as like the source of truth per se on like what's the actual problem with the panel itself. Now, with my personal experience, I did see some blurry effects on certain games, but not all. Like
Hmm.
for example, when I was playing Resident Evil Revelations Portable, I barely noticed it per se. But I just think that just because like the numbers are here are like extremely bad, nobody was pointing that out like at launch.
Hmm.
Now people have these numbers. Now they want to go up and down, trying to roast the Switch 2 again and
Yeah.
say, "Hey, this is the worst console of all time" and stuff. So that's what I truly think. I'm still enjoying the screen. It's not going to be better so far. If that's the case, then that screen is not going to be better than my Steam Deck OLED screen, since
Yeah.
I never had any problems with it ever since I got it and stuff. But like, I feel like people are just complaining just to complain. And I bet you those same people that are complaining about the screen don't have a Switch 2. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, nothing's gonna beat out that OLED display on the Steam Deck because it's still a phenomenal display. I went and I downloaded like the Stellar Blade demo on the Steam Deck, just because like the Stellar Blade demo has HDR, and I was like, no, I wonder how HDR would look on the Steam Deck because the Steam Deck supports it. And yeah, that display is phenomenal. I really like that display. It's a little bit better than the Switch, the OG Switch OLED. Like I think it has just better color settings, in my opinion. Brian, what do you think about this situation?
Um, so the funny thing is, you guys know how much of a gung ho OLED fiend I am, and
Hmm.
how disappointing I was. How disappointed I was when they announced the Switch 2 that day, and they didn't. It was an LCD, and
Hmm.
but then I kind of got to thinking, like, these Asus ROG Li-X and other LCD displays I think I've seen as of late. The technology I think has gotten better not to the point where it's going to beat OLED, but
Hmm.
at least it's not like a Dell monitor from like 2004 with like the backlight bleed in
Yeah,
like 6 different
or
spots,
like
and
the
it
OG
looks like
Switch
garbage.
display.
Yeah. Um, so I got this display, and like right away off the bat, I'm like, okay, this is an OLED. That, I was expecting that, but then I did really start noticing the blur, especially with like older games. Like when I'm playing Mario 64, the blur is just ridiculous. And I guess what I don't like is that I feel it's one of those things, kind of like with the joysticks, where Nintendo has all the money in the world to R&D this thing and to give us a quality display that doesn't have this blurring problem. And I don't agree with Ash that saying that like it's just people that are just trying to roast the Switch 2 or whatever. Like I
Hmm.
agree. I'm not a huge fan of the display. I wish it was better. I'm hearing a lot of background noise right now.
it's fan.
Oh yeah, it's fan.
It's fan. Yeah, okay. Okay. Um so it's it's okay, but I definitely think it could be better, especially considering the how successful it's not like the original Switch. Nintendo was doing something new. It was a gamble. Like, what if this doesn't work out? We don't want to invest all this money into technology and this thing ends up crapping the bed. But they know that the Switch 2 is going to be a surefire winner, and then the sales are the proof in the pudding. So you just hope that they would have put some money behind it. I mean, granted, 120 hertz, the VRR, HDR, like that's all well and good, but if the display is so unresponsive that you can see the blur in between frames and stuff, it's just like And I don't agree. I don't think they're gonna fix this. Like, this is just something where they're gonna be like, 95% of the audience does not give a crap about this, and we're just gonna let all the people that are annoyed by it complain. It's kind of, and I'm sure we're gonna probably roll into that other topic of regarding Mario Kart World, and that's another thing that people are complaining about online that I'm actually not even really too sure about. But yeah, I wish the LCD was better, but whatever.
Yeah, I agree with you on that because like the Joy-Con thing was an issue, right? And they allowed people to send in the Joy-Con, they'll fix it, but they never really. I would say they never really
They didn't
fixed it.
address it.
Yeah, they just were just gonna like, yeah, we'll go ahead and do this for you guys, but that's about it. And that kind of sucks because they could have come back, but hey, turn this in. We'll give you brand new Joy Cons that are that you won't get stick drift with, but they didn't. Now to be fair, I would say like I've had the Skyward Sword Joy Cons, the one that's like the Master Sword and the Hyrule Shield, and those I haven't had stick drift, and I do feel like they kind of might have fixed it there, but I can't really say because then I started using the mobile pad, so I haven't had an issue since then.
I just don't like the range of motion of the Joy-Con. I've never had stick drift. I just don't like how limited it
Oh,
is. Like,
I had
you know what I
stick
mean?
drift on
Like how
my original Switch. Yeah, I had that in maybe about 2 years after, and then I had Geek Swap protection, so I went ahead and ordered new Joy Cons, and then those had the same issue. So then I went ahead and ordered new Joy Cons again. Funny thing is they told me that I can keep the old Joy Cons, and then Nintendo finally started doing the free replacement for stick drift. So I sent in all 3 pairs of Joy Cons to Nintendo, and I got 3 pairs back. So yeah, I still have those Joy Cons somewhere. I don't know where they are, but I have them somewhere. So now I have like two. I have 2 of the neon. I have the black one. Then I have the white Joy Cons, and then I have the Zelda ones. Yeah. All right. What about you, fan? What do you think of this situation? This controversy, I guess.
I mean, I don't play in handheld that often,
Mm.
so I honestly I don't see it because I'm docked at the moment.
Yeah.
But I could kind of see it a little bit when I was playing in handheld. Well, it's even more noticeable for games that don't scale up to the 1080p. Like if you play an older Switch game and it only goes up to 720p, so on a 1080p screen, you're gonna notice that blur even more.
Mm.
And yeah, it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Hopefully Nintendo does something. I'm hoping they just do like a software update on the like Switch, and it gives you the option to like change modes for the display,
Yeah.
like on and off. So that way, if you want extra battle life and you'll deal with the blurriness, you turn it off. If you want to fix the screen blurriness, then yeah, you turn or overdrive on,
Mm-hmm.
and then that way it kind of
So
gives you the choice.
so originally my theory was that like VRR wasn't working properly, which in a sense Digital Foundry did point it out the VRR is not working properly apparently. Um but like I always wonder like there's something wrong with the display, and I think that like for whatever reason, kind of like what Brian said, like I don't understand why Nintendo went ahead and used a cheap display like this. I do wonder if somebody has pointed out or took apart the Switch too and said like exactly where's the display from, like who makes the display, because I'm pretty sure it's not like Samsung or even LG. It's probably some other manufacturer that did the display for it to have that much ghosting in that display. But the other thing is like it just seems like a lot of weird things that you would assume that Nintendo didn't rush this, but it almost feels like it was rushed because there's just weird things happening when it comes to the Switch too. Like again, VRR implementation not working properly, the display having ghosting, and I guess it does tie to that. But also like it has HDMI 2.1 and it has the protocol, but it doesn't utilize HDMI 2.1 features. Like that's another thing. Like again, that's a little bit off topic on there, but there's a lot of things that I guess I am nitpicking on the Switch too. But it's stuff that like kind of bothers me to extent, especially in the range. Again, I get it. The mass majority do not care about like PC handhelds, but what are we like the core audience, which is us? We're going to compare it to these PC handhelds. And when I look at my ROG Ally X, I'm like, man, there's a lot of stuff I complain about that, but in the scheme of things, like I like it a lot. And when I compare it to the Switch 2, I'm like, I do like how light the Switch 2 is. And don't get me wrong, I really love my Switch 2. I just feel like they could have made it so much better than what it is now.
Yep.
If we didn't have these issues, it would be so much better than what it is now. I've done a video, so I haven't done a video in like 2 weeks. Twice I've done a Switch 2 video. I've gone through it, recorded. One day I took 6 hours of re-recording footage over and over and over and over again. And then I get to a point where like I don't like this video because sometimes I feel so negative. I'm like too negative on certain things. So then I re-recorded it again. And then I started doing this video like last week. I did it again, a completely different day. So different mindset. I go through it and then I start realizing I start going into this era of just negativity on the Switch too. And in my head, I'm like, man, I really like the Switch too, but I think I like it so much that I'm very disappointed that these things are happening, if that makes sense.
IGN gave it a 7.
Yeah, and I think, with these issues, a 7
That's fair.
is, I would say it's fair. 7 or 8, I would say I would put it at. Like, it's not a masterpiece, but I think the more we hear about
No.
this, the more I'm kind of disappointed that, like, Nintendo almost felt like they didn't do it properly. Like they, I don't know if it's hindsight thinking or they just were like, yeah, it's gonna sell anyways. Let's just put out this product. It feels very un-Nintendo, in my opinion, because the opposite of what people are saying online, where Nintendo always comes out with crappy stuff, they clearly don't know what they're talking about. Because Nintendo is known for their products to be built good and they last. Like that's what they're known
Right.
for. Like a GameCube would take forever to like for you to demolish. You can even break it so much, like hit it with a hammer and stuff, and it'll still work. I don't know who did the video. Maybe it was on G4. But do you remember where they tested the PS2, the Xbox, and the GameCube? And they did a bunch of stuff. They dropped it. They hit it with a hammer. They did all these things to it. And in the end, the GameCube was the only one to actually work after all of that. Do you
Well,
guys
think
ever
about the
see that
Golf War
video?
game, the Golf War Game Boy. Remember that?
Yeah, there's that one too that lasted.
Yeah.
Well, even like the DS, like outside of the hinges, they still lasted, But yeah, it's a shame. Hopefully Nintendo addresses this, puts overdrive as an option, like fans said, so that you don't have to, you get the option to turn it on or off, or if not, just implement it all the way and just fix that issue. Fix these issues a little bit, because some other stuff like VRR, I think can definitely be fixed with an update. Because that seems to be something that's more, because like in Welcome Tour, they mentioned that VRR works perfectly fine. It showcases
It could be
VRR
a game to game
perfectly.
basis. Yeah, it could
Yeah.
just be a per game basis.
Yeah, so it seems like that's stuff like software can fix, but the overdrive definitely would have to be a software update for the display to actually react to that. So, yeah, well, that's our
It'd
little
be
bit of
easy toggle.
It would be because like
Like you just
I don't know if
hold
this
button,
monitor has it.
you get the little
Mhm.
the little menu when you hold the home button on the Switch while you're playing a game.
Yeah,
It'd be easy just to have a little toggle button right there,
for
like
overdrive.
screen overdrive,
Yeah.
on or off.
Well, I know like the Acer monitor that I have has overdrive and it has the toggle to turn it on and off. So, and I just keep it on because for some reason to keep it off. I just just keep it on. Anyways, going on with controversies to kind of lead into the next topic. Mario Kart's another one. So Mario Kart World did an update. They kind of changed the way the Grand Prix is it called Grand Prix in online? I don't remember. Right? It's called Grand Prix, right? I assume.
Oh,
I forgot.
I thought it was
It's
called
just the
versus
online
race or whatever.
versus, right? Yeah,
Is it
it's
just
just
called
online
versus?
versus races. I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
But is it called, I thought it was like because you have knockout tours, the mode, and the other mode isn't it just Grand Prix, or is it just called something else? Well, whatever that mode is, the non-knockout tour mode, they did an update where now if you
You don't
press
play it enough to even know what it's called. 'cause all
exactly,
we do is play Knockout.
exactly, because knockout tour is amazing. Like I love knockout tour.
It's amazing. Yeah, for sure. It's great.
But if you want to play the old school mode, a lot of people are complaining because they did the update. They changed the way that works. And what happens is previously when you would do a stage, you would just go to that stage and then you have that stage. Now you no longer do that. You'll actually have to go ahead and start at the old course and drive to the new course, similar to how it is in Grand Prix and single player, where you have to, go from course to course. So now that's the way that's implemented. And a lot of people are not happy because I kind of get where they're going at. Like, if you wanted to play just that course, then yes, I get it, because you want 3 laps of going around that course. You don't want to have to travel from the old course to the new course. But I don't know. I feel like that one is blown into proportion. But at the same time, I also get it. Like, this is how the game started. This is how it was implemented, and then you are changing it later on. Like,
Just
that bothers
why?
me. Yeah. Like, you have no reason to do that. If you want to put it that way, like, make that like a rule or something that you can do, or a different mode. You don't
Right.
have to, like, you have classic mode and then you have new mode. Maybe do something like that. So you have 2 different toggles. So the people who want classic
Like a
have
Smash
classic.
Brothers rule set.
Yeah. But not only that, like, you have freaking Knockout Tour. Knockout Tour does the same thing. So it's like, why have Knockout Tour and then you also have this? It's like Knockout Tour in half, or half a Knockout Tour, because you're doing one stage to another. What do you guys think on that update?
What's really interesting is, who's kind of the precursor to Mario Kart Knockout Tour? Really
Hmm.
random. F-Zero. F-Zero kind of
F-Zero
had something like that.
did it?
Yeah, like the original F-Zero on SNES. Like
Mm-hmm.
when you are going through a lap, it'll say on the top right, safe. And
Yeah.
if you drop below that pole position when you're doing a lap, then you're eliminated. Like when you go through the next lap. So it's not exactly the same, but it's a similar
Okay.
concept. But anyway, I just thought that was an interesting
Because
anecdote.
I know F-Zero
But yeah,
99 has that too. And that's what came to my head when I played. It's like, oh, it's like F-Zero 99.
yeah, it's for all intents and purposes, yeah. So yeah, I don't get it, man. You know what it reminds me a lot of? It reminds me of, do you remember when Mario Kart 8 came out and they did that thing where replay was the default option and you had to like go down one to go to like next race? Do you remember
Yeah.
that? Like when you'd finish a race?
Yeah.
And it's like, why? Like, why would you do that? Like, no, like, I don't know. I don't think I've ever watched a replay of myself playing Mario Kart 8, right?
Yeah,
And I don't
never.
think most people do. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad. I guess that's a cool feature to have. Like, if you did want to watch it, like, that's cool. But like, why would that be the default? So it's kind of the same thing with this. It's like, why not give people the options to like play the game how they want to play it, and it doesn't feel like it would be that hard to implement. Like, just like you could even have like an old school Super Mario Kart menu, like with
Mm-hmm.
the 4 races. You select the cup you want to do, or you could just like select the 4 courses you want to do. Instead, it's like, no, we have to do this like thing to show off that these courses are interconnected, and it
Yeah.
just comes across as really nasal gazy and just not consumer friendly. So I hope that they actually listen to feedback on this and maybe try to figure out a way to make it so people will enjoy it more, because it has potential. But I mean, they're just kind of own goaling themselves right now.
Yeah. Fan and Ash, what do you guys think?
Can you remember what was the patch again that they did for Mario Kart World? I'm sorry.
So the whole concept this world is that, you know, you're racing against other people and you're traveling all across the whole continent of courses.
Yeah.
So it's like this
The
update
world
is
fan,
basically
get it
just
right.
this update is basically Nintendo like forcing people to play the style that they want to play. But this is, from my understanding, this is only implemented when you play versus online with other people.
Yeah.
Like the whole 3 race things, you can still do that. You would just set it in your own personal lobbies with friends, right? So
I don't
technically,
know. I
people
never
can
tried
still
it.
play 3 laps if they want to. It's just they're upset that that option's being taken away from them when they play online with random people,
Does it make
or
sense,
that
Ash?
option is not coming up as often.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole patch is just making the courses that have the 3 lap options.
Well,
like,
yeah, it's if you
come
do
up less
random
often.
too. It's only if you do
Yeah.
random. So if everybody presses
Yeah.
random, then it automatically does that, which is another
Yeah.
thing. Like, it's a small part of that. Like, if everybody chooses a course and then lands on that course, then it'll do the whole stage. But if you do random, then it does the thing, which is another weird, like, I don't know. That's just like awkward. It's like, all right, if you guys choose random, then Nintendo's gonna choose for you. I don't know.
That's
Like,
okay. Now, yeah, that's a bit weird. I don't know. It. Yeah, that's kind of a lazy way to do RNG on a course if you choose RNG. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why they would do that in the first place. You know, hopefully Nintendo's like watching the feedback from based on this patch and like reverts it or something, because I don't know. That's a bit of an odd thing that they did there. Not too sure why. So
I feel like if they're listening to feedback, it would have to be Japanese players to complain, and I think that's only then is when they would actually like say something or do something.
Yeah, I don't see them making too much hoo-hop about this because Japanese culture it's a big commuter culture, right?
Mhm.
So for them, just having to play one course falls well in line with their commuting. If they have to like do three laps for a race, he's like, I can't make it. This last lap is going to eat, and I need to get off of this train. Like I'm not going to have enough time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's still technically 3 laps, right? Because you're driving from one map to
Yeah,
the other,
that's
and
true.
that counts as a lap. So like the length is still the same, right? It's kind of like when you had the Baby Mario track that was just an oval. It instead of it being 3 laps, it was 6 laps, but for the length to be the same as a normal 3-lap map. Yeah, I mean, it's a weird things Nintendo's doing.
It's a choice, but I think they're just diving too deep into it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we'll see what Nintendo does in the future, what they update. Maybe they'll go back. Who knows? It's just one of those things that is, if it wasn't broken, why did you try to fix it? Unless originally intentionally, like that's what you wanted it to be, and you realize that it's not working the way that you wanted it to be, then I can get it. But at that point, I would say put out a statement, be like, hey, the original experience you were having was unintentional. This is the intended way that we wanted you guys to play this part of the game.
Yeah, what if the whole random thing was just a bug and they didn't realize it?
Yeah. That would be interesting. Like I said, and then they put out a statement, say, hey, that was just a bug. This is the real Mario
Yeah,
Kart.
but once they do that, they're admitting fault.
True.
Yeah.
Nintendo's not one to usually admit fault.
Well, even if they want to, like their lawyers will say don't,
Yeah.
because then that opens up a whole can of other stuff.
I mean, the Pokemon company admitted fault, and then they did nothing to fix it except wait for the Switch 2. They were like, yeah, we'll just wait a couple of years for the Switch 2 and they'll fix our game, which it did. But it's kind of sad that you had Switch 1 owners like me super high up, and I was like, you know what? I'll finish this game later. I'll wait for the update. I'll fix performance. And you promised to fix performance, and it came just with me having to buy a new console to fix the performance.
Yep, the $450 Switch 2 edition upgrade.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, Pokemon has that. Pokemon has that $450 Switch 2 edition upgrade. That would be a perfect thumbnail. That would be a perfect thumbnail for that.
I would never let that go.
No, I paid $450 for the Switch 2 upgrade.
No, not to get stable frame rate. That's a better term, because we were just asking for the stable 30. That's it.
That's all we needed.
We didn't ask for 60. We just need 30. So it's just the fact that we got to pay $450 just for this. Like, come on, Game Freak, just optimize the game. Optimize the game to run 30 on the Switch 1 or something, man. You can do it. Ain't that hard.
It's all we needed. All we needed. All right. Brian, you said you haven't tried Death Stranding 2, right?
No, he played like 30 minutes to an hour.
Oh yeah, he said 30 minutes to an hour.
He played a little bit.
Sorry, I played like an hour and a half.
What were your initial impressions of that?
It's incredible. I mean, like I had expectations of it going into it, because I'm really invested in the story. I think it's brilliant. I think Kojima is such an interesting character. I haven't really liked Metal Gear games since 2, because I found that 3, 4, and 5 got a little too realistic, and because like in 1 and 2 you could see the cone of vision of the enemies, and while that is 100% unrealistic as far as like radar that can sense how far an enemy can see, it's super gamey, but at the same time I found it more fun because I find like the realistic way, like having to sneak around and hope that an enemy doesn't see you, I find it too ambiguous, because it's like you could work in Metal Gear Solid 5 for 30 minutes on a mission, and then all of a sudden there's an enemy that can see you out of the corner of his eye and your mission's blown. And I know MGS5 is a great game, but it's just I've never really gotten into Kojima games outside of Metal Gear 1, Metal Gear 2, Zone of the Enders 2, Is there anything else really that he did? I'm trying to think.
Silent Hill.
Besides Death Stranding,
I think he
did
did
Silent
one of
Hill,
the
really?
Silent Hills. I think he did one of them, if I remember correctly.
Okay, I
Which is
never
why he
played
was doing
a PS1 Silent
the
Hill.
remake. Yeah.
Silent Hills, yeah. So yeah,
Find out.
I have this expectation going into it just based on the first game, just how cinematic it is, and that's something that I really respect about him is that he wears his influences on his sleeve, and he's very proud of it.
Yeah.
And he is a very knowledgeable man in like how to make a feature. Because when you start Death Stranding 2, it does an opening it could be the opening of a film, like it could be Dune 3 or something. Like, it's just so magnificent. There's this music track that plays in the background, and it's just like it shows all this beautiful scenery, and the actions just kind of like fit together. It gives you this really good emotional, like jiving with the environment and stuff. And yeah, I mean it's great. And then you kind of figure out what happens, you like why, like what the setup is for the game with Fragile and what you're doing and everything. But yeah, I know I'm gonna love it, but I have to get this platinum in Expedition 33 first.
So I lied. He didn't do any Silent Hill. For some reason, I thought he did because he was coming out with the new Silent Hill, but he never did. But something that kind of surprised me. There's a game on PSP called Lunar Nights. It was on PSP if I remember. No, it was on DS.
He
I
also
lied.
did
It was on
Bowtie.
DS.
He also
Yeah,
did Bowtie on Game Boy Advance. That
he
game
did.
where you had to like hold the Game Boy to the sun or
Yep.
whatever. I never played it though.
Yeah, I heard it was pretty good though.
I heard it was good, yeah.
But yeah, Lunar Nights is another game, and it's what is it?
And
I
did
think
Police Knots too.
yeah, he did that. He had some weird, like, I won't say weird, but like one-off games.
Mhm.
This game is, let me see. I guess it's like Zelda, basically. It looks like. But yeah, he produced that, so I guess he technically didn't direct it. I guess he has only Enders, Metal Gear Solid. He designed the stage for Shadow Moses and Smash Bros. So
Oh,
he
cool.
he actually designed it himself. That's kind of cool. And
James,
Mhm.
I mean, you played Death Stranding, like you opened with it. I mean, like even Death Stranding has a great opening with that low roar song, and you're like walking
Yeah.
through the environment to get to the city.
Yep.
Like that's amazing, and they have a similar thing. They do that again in Death Stranding 2, and it's very similar vibes. It's awesome.
Yeah, he's a visionary. Like you
He
can't
is.
say, I feel like people, if you hate on Kojima, then I think you just never played a Kojima game. He definitely really thinks out his games story wise. Like it all comes together. It could sound like crazy and you might not know what it is. And a lot of it's like you're going through it, like, I don't get what's going on, but towards the end, you figure everything out. You're like, okay, this is what it makes sense. Metal Gear Solid 1 was great. Like, I still love the narrative, Metal Gear Solid 1. It's such a good
Oh, it's
game.
great,
Metal Gear Solid
especially for
2.
'98.
Yeah. Metal Gear Solid 2 is even better on that front. Like I remember playing it and then I was kind of upset. I'm like, man, why do I gotta play this guy? I want to play a Snake. But then you play as Raiden and you kind of go through and then you see all this back and forth. And then you get to the end. You're like, oh shoot. What is going
There's a
on?
bomb guy on roller skates, man. Like who thinks of that? Fat
Yeah,
Man. Like,
Fat
who
Man,
thinks of
yeah.
that?
Love
Yeah.
Fat Man. Or Vamp, like the dancing scene with they're shooting at Vamp. Oh no, I think that was from 4. No, he does the same thing. He does the dancing in Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
that's
so. Yeah.
and then he
Or the memory card thing that he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Psycho Mantis in 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
he did that. There's with, was it the end in Metal Gear Solid 3?
Yeah.
If you
Mhm.
if you take too long to beat him, he dies. Like he dies of old age because you took too long. That's great. Or like one of my favorite ones is in Metal Gear Solid 3 is also where you're fighting the ghost guy. And you go through and you're just walking through and you're kind of like, you have to dodge the ghost because every time the ghosts touch you, you kind of like die. But then you get to a point where you do fall and die. And it gives you the game over screen. And I remember I kept dying over and over again. I'm like, man, what am I supposed to do here? And then finally you get a codec call, like, hey, these pills you have, you should try using it. And I was like, okay, how am I supposed to use it? And then by accident, I died and I got upset and I went and grabbed my controller. This is back on PS2. I had held R2 by mistake and I went down like this and then the menu popped up while the game over screen popped up. I was like, wait a minute, you telling me that this is where I gotta use the pill? And then of course you use the pill and then you wake back up, and then that's how you defeat that boss.
Or like the back of the CD case to get Meryl's codec in MGS1.
That was
They call it the CD
That's
case.
actually awesome. That's actually
Yeah, for
awesome.
sure.
I like stuff like that.
Yeah, he's done a lot
Very
of good
meta.
things in his games. Metal Gear Solid 4. Can't think of anything that's as reliable, or not reliable, but as noticeable as that. It was just a good story. A lot of cutscenes, very long cutscenes, but a good
Yeah.
story nonetheless. Because that is a game that you would just, all right, hour cutscenes. You just sit down and watch everything unfold. But the game is still fun.
Like Xenosaga.
Yeah. And then Metal Gear Solid 5, of course, was different. That was majority gameplay, not a lot of cutscenes. But still a good game. Very unfinished. And we all know why, because towards the end, they removed Kojima.
Got acrimonious.
Yep. But yeah, I am excited to finish Death Stranding and try Death Stranding 2. So I do want to hear your thoughts whenever you go back to Death Stranding 2. As you progress, hear your thoughts on that and how you feel the story is and so forth. Did you like the story of Death Stranding 1? Did you
Loved it.
loved it? So
Fantastic. Yeah.
I do want to see how this holds up.
Got me
'Cause
emotional.
I've heard that 2 is better story wise than
Okay.
1. I was like watching a review and they said that they like 2 better than 1 story. So that's interesting.
Interesting side note is that Death Stranding, the original, my favorite song of all time is the song that ends Death Stranding. It's my favorite song of all time. So if you ever are curious about hearing Brian's favorite song of all time, it's the song Death Stranding by Churches. And oh my God, there's a video of Churches performing that live at the Game Awards. Every time it gives me goosebumps when I watch it because it's just such an incredible performance and piece of music. So check it out.
Let's look into that and see. Or actually, I'll just wait till I beat the game and then I can figure it out.
There you go.
go. That'll be the better way to do that. All right, let's go ahead and move along. Start talking about Xbox. So I don't know why we didn't really discuss this. Like when Xbox had their showcase, we talked about the ROG Ally X for like briefly, or ROG Xbox Ally X briefly. But something's come up, and I kind of want to hear your thoughts. We haven't had a discussion, I feel like this, in quite a while. When Xbox is mentioned, or when Xbox does something, this is what I know. If they do a showcase, it's really good. People get hyped. Bad news follows. It's always happened. Anytime that they have a bad showcase, then there's nothing, bad. Like life just goes on. Of course, they had this amazing showcase, and now it's rumored that next week Xbox is going to be laying off the majority of their Xbox staff. Now it's got me thinking, what is the future of Xbox? What are your thoughts on the future of Xbox? Because in my mind, I'm like, Xbox, really, Xbox is no longer a platform. Yes, you want to call it the Xbox PC experience, but it's just PC. Like, you will never hear me say Xbox PC. It's just going to be PC. Unless, only time you'll hear me say Xbox PC is if I'm reading off an article that says like Xbox Game Pass, Xbox PC, and so forth. But outside of that, I would never call it Xbox PC. Do you guys feel that just the Xbox console experience is going away and we're just going to get a PC in the box? Basically like Steam, what was it? Steam, like Steam machines?
Yep. I think so.
Like no first party machine. It's just going to be third party. Because I think one of the rumors was that Microsoft was working on the handheld and then they scrapped it and they just went and hired Asus, or they went and teamed up with Asus to do the ROG Xbox Ally X.
I just think, since they already own Windows, I think they're just kind of meshing Windows and Xbox together all in one, so that way you're still in their ecosystem technically per se. Heck, majority of the games I play on my Steam, majority, I say all my games. Okay, I'll say majority mainly because like literally 5% of the games, if you're playing playing a game that's built from the source engine like Valve, that's like mainly built for Linux too. But like most of those games are technically Windows binary files, which is why Proton exists in the first place. So seeing Microsoft just kind of just meshing both Xbox and Windows together, it makes sense to me for the most part. I don't want to see this happen, but like I think I think that they were just making the wrong moves when it comes to like first party exclusives per se. And I don't know. It's just, there was just a lot of different things that happened in the past, and I think there was one game that was like exclusive on the Xbox, and once it got released, the game didn't do so hot. And then when Phil Spencer was on that podcast or something like that, he wasn't too pleased with it either. I forgot what it was called. Damn, what was the game called? I think it was like a PvP type of game too on the Xbox. Did it involve with vampires or wolves or something like that?
Oh, you're thinking of what's the game that me and you streamed? We talked about it not that long ago, fan. Me and you streamed. We had the wackiness of the when we booted the game, it went across both our monitors for some reason, or it was like sideways and all this other weird stuff happening. Shoot. It's
But
by
you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Because Phil
yeah.
Spencer wasn't happy about that. I think after that, that's when he was saying, "Hey, like he was saying something where like he's gonna like like go in harder on first party exclusives." And it was on a podcast. I don't know which one it was, but it was like a
I remember
Xbox
that.
only podcast. So, and I just think Phil Spencer himself like needs to like do better on exclusives altogether, I think. And I don't think, but even if I say that, I don't think they're going to be focused on that anymore because they're already throwing some of their games onto the PlayStation.
Yeah,
yeah.
It was that vampire game.
Yeah,
vampire game. I know it was vampire related, so but like, I don't know. I think Microsoft just fully get given up on first party exclusive and just be like, hey, listen, if the game is on this platform, we'll still benefit from it anyway.
yeah.
I think it was starting to go downhill when they start saying that, hey, this is an Xbox. Oh, that's an Xbox. Oh, this is also an Xbox.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm quite saddened that they're like going in that direction, but what can you do? I think there was like a lot of the wrong decisions that they made. I feel like the only good decision they did so far was the Game Pass stuff, obviously, but I feel like they could have done a lot more when it comes to their catalog and stuff, and like prefer to rope you into it and stuff, So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like they want to still capitalize on revenue through the Xbox store, but they're allowing you to, they're implementing Steam into the Xbox store and all the other launchers into the Xbox store, which I don't know how everybody else is here, but like even though I have a game free like on Epic Games, I would prefer to buy it on Steam. Like I bought Death Stranding on Steam. Like Neo, I have that free through Epic Games, but I would rather buy that through Steam and play it on there because
Steam has cachet.
yeah, like it's just that not only that, what a lot of people don't realize this, games do not run the same on every launcher. So a version of the same game will run different depending on what launcher you're using, which is funny. Like there are Xbox versions of certain games or the Xbox app versions of the certain games that don't run as good as the version on Steam and vice versa. Final Fantasy
Right.
13.
Yeah, Powered was a big one.
Yeah, Power was one of them. Final Fantasy 13 is another one. It actually runs better if you buy it through the Xbox store than the Steam version, because the Steam version is an older build and not as good of a build, where the Xbox version of Final Fantasy 13 is a totally different version that runs a lot better, which is funny when it comes to that. But yeah, they don't always run the same, and it's the same could be said with like Epic Game Store and so forth, which is why a lot of people prefer Steam. I don't know what it is. I think it has something to do with like some APIs that they put in. I guess the way it's telling the game to open, I have no clue. It's probably something I should look more into. But I just know that games do not always run the same on the same launcher. So if you buy a game on Epic Game Store, doesn't mean it's gonna run the same as the Steam version. The Steam version usually runs the best overall. But yeah, Bryant, what do you guys think? What is the future of Xbox? Like, what do you think is going on with Xbox, and what are they gonna do?
I think they're eventually going to go the way of Sega. they're probably just going to be a publisher, I'd assume. You think about that Perfect Dark game that's coming out. They're going to leverage the Activision connection that they have, Call of Duty, just all these different properties that they have from all those studios they've been picking up, and they'll probably just put it everywhere. I mean, even still, to this day, Xbox games on PlayStation are doing incredibly well. They got the Gears collection or the Gears Reloaded. I think it's called Gears Reload or whatever coming out in a month or two or whatever. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Halo on PlayStation at some point, which I think a lot of people will just buy for the novelty of it. And it's too bad, really, because I think Xbox. I remember back in I think Xbox came out in 01, and I didn't get an Xbox maybe till like 2 or 3, I want to say, and I really liked it. I remember that you could rip CDs to the hard drive and listen to music and on there, and the games, the graphics were always the best on Xbox because game companies could write on it because it was x86 architecture or whatever, so it was like very easy for developers to like really push the horsepower of the Xbox. So you always had the best version on Xbox, generally speaking. And then, when the Xbox 360 came out, it blew the doors off of PlayStation 3. I mean, it wasn't even close. Even though the PlayStation 3 had a Blu-ray player, Xbox 360 dominated because of its live service, because of just how ubiquitous it was, how expensive the PlayStation 3 was. It was just everybody had an Xbox 360. It was just everybody did. Kind of like how everybody had PlayStation 2 because it was a DVD player. Everybody had an Xbox 360 because you could play with your buddies online and do voice chat, and it worked really well. And it was
I thought
very
they got it for HD DVD.
simplistic. Right. I got an HD DVD player. I totally did at one point. But then, Xbox One, though, is where it really just started going to hell because you had a guy like Don Matrick.
Yeah.
Don Matrick. Kind of changing the whole trajectory of the company, going to the Kinect, trying to make it an all-in-one box to watch TV on and everything, and then they kind of just got away from themselves as to what made the Xbox popular, and you get this thing that looks like a VCR from 1992, and it just wasn't aesthetically pleasing, and it overall is just kind of a chunky piece of not great. It just was kind of garbage. It was fine or whatever. And then the Series X came out, and I like how the Series X looks, and honestly, it streamlines a lot of things that was wrong with the Xbox One. So I think it's a really nice console, but the problem is that Microsoft kind of just left the party, and they cut off their wristband and they threw it into the ocean. They can't get back into the party. They have all these studios and all this talent, but they're only interested in Game Pass now and jumping those subscriber numbers and selling software in other places. It's just the ecosystem isn't there anymore, and it kind of breaks my heart because I think that it's good to have competitors to constantly try to one up each other. And now it's just going to be PlayStation show, and I don't think that Nintendo really counts because Nintendo is kind of their own thing. And now you have this American manufacturer developer that is kind of getting out of the hardware game, anyways. I assume eventually, and I think it's too bad. I really wish that Don Matrick wouldn't have kind of led everybody astray. And I don't think that the future is too bright, unfortunately. But there's gonna be a lot of good software coming out, but we got to wait and see for all that.
Yeah. What about you, Fan?
Yeah, kind of the same viewpoint with Brian, that Xbox is just slowly gonna like get out of the hardware space. And well, I mean, they'll probably still have hardware, but they're not going to be the ones to make it. If this like Xbox Ally X RG, whatever it's called, is any indication, is that they're gonna, start like, hey, we're gonna give you a license, and you third parties can make hardware for our stuff, and then everything truly will be an Xbox. And then they're gonna be like, we'll just push out software, you guys build the hardware. That way, they're not having to eat the costs of having to develop and build hardware.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we as we know, Nintendo technically is one of the only gaming companies that actually make money off their consoles.
Yeah.
And the Switch 2 is like barely. I think they probably barely make anything off of it. But they're one of the few, and Microsoft was really pushing the Game Pass for PC, Xbox, ain't play anywhere. Like, so writing's on the wall. They're slowly kind of peeling back.
Yeah, I think I agree with you guys. Like, I feel that Xbox. I mean, honestly, in the future, Xbox might not just not exist. Yes, right now we'll probably get their marketing. ROG, Xbox Ally X. We'll, we may get another Xbox version of stuff. Like we got they just announced the Xbox Meta Quest edition or whatever, or Meta Quest 3S or whatever that Meta Quest is. There's an Xbox edition of it, and I'm sure that's not even the last of it. There's they'll announce something else. The next console will probably be a collab. It's not going to be completely Xbox. Now, if I'm wrong, I hope I'm wrong because I would like a new Xbox. And yeah, you can change it, make it PC based, like Windows based, and use the Xbox UI and use the kind of same experience you'll get on a handheld, but on there. And I think that would do well. But I do think there's another player in the game that has bigger potential to kind of rock everything, and we can get that third console manufacturer. And I actually think it's Steam and Valve. Honestly, like a Steam Deck console. Okay, yeah, Steam Decks have not sold like crazy. But more and more, there are more people going to PC gaming than ever before. Like, I can't tell you how many times, like, in my years of being in retail, that I see a lot more PC gaming or like PC like gaming PCs being sold than I ever have in my life. Like originally, like it was rare for somebody to. I remember back then, back in the days, Best Buy never carried really that many gaming PCs. They maybe had like one or two, and that's it. Now they have like whole sections for it. They have multiple sections. They have the laptop and they have the desktop area. Depending on the store you go to, how big it is, they might have a lot more variety on there. And they kind of like went all in. Micro Center is booming, and I think Micro Center is booming because of that. The love of PC gaming is a lot more than what it used to be. And Valve honestly could be that potential third player, that third console player, right? In the sense of making a home console or a home PC, Steam machine all over again. But you'll get that console-like experience because the way SteamOS runs. Of course, the downside as of right now is you can't do multiplayer games because of anti-cheat. But if they can figure out a way to fix that, that could be the potential third player. And what do you guys think about that?
Repeat that last bit one more time for me, James.
So for them to like get into it, they would have to do what they did with the Steam Deck. They would have to really eat the costs on the hardware to make it financially feasible, right? Because that's a reason why people buy consoles, is because technically it is cheaper than having to buy a gaming PC. So they've got to figure that out, and obviously they'll have to partner up with some type of SI, system integrator that will kind of supply all the parts for them.
Yeah.
Only thing I can think of is like do like a pseudo, like semi-modular system, right? Like back in the day when you have like the Sega Saturn and the Nintendo, they had like add-ons you could add, right? So I'm thinking that they'd have to figure out something. Like there's that laptop manufacturer what is it, where it's like it's super freaking modular. You can buy like
Framework
cards.
Origin?
Framework, yeah. No, Framework. If they can figure out something like that for a Steam machine, I think it would work out, because then that way, hey, we're gonna upgrade instead of having you buy a whole new console. You got the bones of the system, and then you just add on what when the new piece comes out.
But that I think will take away from the ease of use experience, though, because people are used to buying just another console, right? You go from PS5 to PS5 Pro, you got your more powerful system, right? So
yeah, but then that's what I'm saying. Like you've got the main body, right? New CPU comes out. All right, you take out the old module, put in the new module. Similar to the framework, like you got a body of a computer, but then you're like, I need to upgrade my CPU, right? Steam comes out like, hey, we've got the new system. You can buy the module or you can buy the whole new system.
I think that's in another league of its own. I feel like they wouldn't do that. It would be just like, here's the Steam Machine 2 or whatever you want to call the console version of it. Because like the whole thing with consoles, right? Is you plug and play, call it a day. You have that for 5 years or so. Next system comes out, buy the upgrade, plug and play, call it a day, and move on to that. And like the Steam Deck is kind of that, right? It's not modular. You can't outside of like upping the SSD, you can't really do anything on that. And I feel like a console version would be very similar to that, where plug and play. It's not modular. Maybe upgrade you definitely want some type of expansion because games file sizes are huge. So you definitely want to be able to have a lot more memory there. But outside of that, like it just works. And at cost wise, it can still be pretty cheap. The Steam Deck OLED is what, 650, I think? 650, right? For the
No,
one
it's
terabyte?
549, I think.
Okay,
Well,
549.
549 for the 512, I think.
Okay, so it's 549 for something that has a display, right? And it has to be in this more smaller form factor, which costs a lot more money. Where if you have a console like experience, you could probably do 549 and put a Z2 Extreme chip in it instead. And maybe make it eGPU compatible. Like that will work as a more expansion. Make it eGPU compatible. So if you want to buy a GPU, uh, and you could plug that in, and then you have that extra performance power on there, like that would work.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like making a modular system, like and not even just EPG. Like if they actually sold their own eGPU, like
Yeah.
where it just like you sit it on top and it connects and it boosts the power.
Well, that would make it. Yeah, that would work better. Like a back attachment, you just pop it in, something like that. Like, that would work. But
Because they
I
have that for the framework laptops. Like they have an external GPU for the
Mhm.
laptops. Like if you want more GPU power, you just snap it on the back.
yeah. Yeah, I mean that part I could see doing that for like GPU. I don't think they would go in the way of like, oh, let's make the processor also like in and out. Like I feel like that would be
That's why
too
I said like
much.
semi-modular. I'm not saying
Yeah.
like you have to rebuild the whole system, but like just something where they can add on like, hey, if a new game comes out, but like that Steam machine technically isn't powerful enough, and even like with the Steam settings, like it's playable maybe
Like the
ish.
expansion pack for the N64 where you get that
Yeah, like the Rumble
extra
pack. Yeah,
no,
get
not
that
the
extra
not the
RAM.
Rumble pack. You get the extra RAM. Yeah, you pop it
Yeah,
in there.
yeah.
It's funny. I never knew what that was, and then you needed that for Majora's Mask, and I never knew what that was, and then I found out like maybe like 10 years ago that it was just RAM that you were installing to the N64, and that's the only system to do that. Like nobody else has done that, which is kind of
Very
cool.
un-Nintendo.
Very un Nintendo. Yeah, you're 100% correct on that. Very un Nintendo. Brian,
They had a
what?
lot of plans for like their expansions, but then none of them like never just
No,
came
like
through to the
the disk
West.
drive too. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is funny. After they let go of Sony, they decided to do a disk drive after. Brian, what do you think about this?
Honestly, I don't really have any more opinion on it.
No,
No, not this
Ash.
one.
Do you think Valve can replace Xbox as the third player in the gaming industry, like as a console?
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. That's a bit of a stretch, in my
They're
opinion.
very niche. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
because I'm just going back in time on like when the Steam Deck first came out. Everyone kept chanting it's going to be a Switch killer. It's going to be a Switch killer. It was never a Switch killer.
No,
it wasn't able to kill any other console within like the popular space. So why would if Valve was a console way able to replace Microsoft's console? So I have my doubts, huge doubts on that, but just because they can't, that doesn't mean they're not going to eventually just poof out of thin air. If I was going to do their own thing, they're a private company, so
yeah.
I have no worries about that to begin with. I feel like with Microsoft, if they want to, which don't know if this is going to further boost the amount of people in their ecosystem, if they could just simply just improve the Windows operating system to work as good as Linux per se, and that
Oh, we're losing you, Ash.
will be
Well, Microsoft is attacking Ash right now. They don't like him talking.
We're not going to have any of that.
He's got a DOS attack on his system.
He's being censored. Microsoft is censoring Ash's words, unfortunately.
They're listening.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Ash. I'm using
we know
using
Microsoft
Windows,
is already
so.
doing something with Windows. The Xbox ROG Ally X is a clear indication of that.
Yeah, I mean with the Xbox the app being the kind of like what SteamOS has, where you go into Steam, you have that
Big
whole
picture mode.
interface. Yeah, big picture mode. There we go. Xbox is doing their version of big picture mode, and it's funny because like while we're talking about this, and while you were talking, Pan, I was looking on the Xbox app because you can kind of start like testing out some of the features already, where your Steam library gets integrated into it, and I just realized I'm on the Insider program, but I'm only on the Insider version on the Xbox itself and not PC. So I'll have to set that up.
Okay.
Yeah, so I might do that and add it to my ROG Ally X and see how.
Don't you have
I
to pay
it.
like a developer thing? Like it's like a one-time like fee or
I
whatever?
don't think so. No, for the Insider program, no. You just get like the
okay.
early features ahead of
Oh,
time.
it's the developer mode.
All right.
Yeah.
Hear me now? I'm good?
Yeah. Ooh, something happened in my Discord. That is weird.
Oh,
yeah, you're like frozen.
Must be. I mean, I still see James. He's still moving.
No,
I
I see him, but like Bryant's like colors are way off. Oh, let me see if I
I
can.
think it's a Discord thing. I don't know.
There we go.
Because I thought.
Oh,
it was something
now
from my
Fan
side.
is messed up. What the heck is going on here?
Yeah, the Discord server. It has to be a Discord servers.
Yeah, it's definitely Discord. Yeah, because I had to shut off my camera and turn it back on twice. That was the only way to fix it. That was weird.
Okay. I thought. Oh yeah. So basically, if it because like when SteamOS first went public and stuff, and people were installing it onto like the I think the Lenovo Legion Go and other handhelds and stuff, and they were comparing performances and how huge, like not huge, but like there was definitely a difference in performance improvement between the SteamOS versus Microsoft, and the fact that even though we were running a translation layer in Linux, we're still getting better performance than the native version, which is Windows, right? So my thing is, if Microsoft
and better
can
battery
life,
life.
and better battery life. So if Microsoft can just actually invest money into their engineers, and so that way they can actually go in and fully optimize the OS, then I feel like it's not going to make huge improvement when it comes to like customers, but it'll definitely get some people coming back to Windows and stuff, right? Because for me, when October 2025 hits, I'm going to be switching over to Linux. I'm already prepping there all my software and stuff.
Why? What's October 2025?
Windows 10 and support, but they expanded that to 2026.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they just announced that.
I wonder why. Like,
yeah, so now you have an extra year.
Yeah, because they never forget Windows 11 sucks right now, because they need to fix that. So
I agree.
Yeah, so if they can just like take some time and just optimize this OS, and I feel like they may have some foothold, right? Like,
I mean, this Ally X is gonna prove them right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hope if anything we can grab the OS from that ROG Ally X that they're coming out with and stuff and pop that into my PC. If anything, if I'm able to do that, then I might just do that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like Microsoft has buttloads of money, and you can't make it OS run faster than Linux. You kidding me? Come on. I mean, I know they recently did a layoff, but you still have way more money than freaking Sony and other competitors too. So, what happened?
Yeah, next week they'll be doing those layoffs.
Yeah,
supposedly.
Again. Wonderful.
I'm trying to see because they did a. Let me see. They called the Xbox full screen experience, and they had a. I may have made it up. I thought they had a number on like the percentage of like how much better performance you would get. But maybe not.
It was like around 8 to 10% from last time I checked.
Was it that? Okay, because no, I'm talking about the Xbox full screen experience. Like when they announced the ROG Ally X and their new
I mean, it said it freed up like almost like 2 gigs of resources.
That's what it was. Yes, there we go. And I was trying to find it because I thought it was through the Wire, Xbox Wire page, but maybe it wasn't that. But yeah, like 2 gigs of RAM is huge, especially like on something
is.
on a handheld that's very limited.
Yeah, like if
Dream-
you have like what was it, the Legion Go that only had like 16 gigs
Mhm.
of DDR5, and the Ally X has 24 gigs. Thank God, because they got more RAM.
Yeah. And now the one that you're getting, Brian, that has 32.
32,
Yeah,
32
yeah,
gigs.
it's high.
Yeah. Yeah, it has.
Oh, 32 gigs of memory on that?
Mhm.
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah. They make two
Yeah,
different versions. They make a 16 and a 32 gig.
Then I can justify the $900 for that. Then that makes sense. 32. Yeah, that's fine. That makes sense.
Yeah, I was trying to see how
How
much
much is
RAM.
the 16 gigabyte version?
$80 less.
Damn, it's just $80. Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's
That's
the
fair.
Steam OS version and Windows versions also. They have like 4 or 5 SKUs.
Yeah, they've got a bunch of different SKUs depending on which version you get.
Mm-hmm.
Did
No,
you bought
and the
the
thing-
Windows version, Brian?
No, I bought the Steam OS version.
Oh, the Steam
Oh,
OS
okay.
version. Oh, hold on. I
Yeah.
think that one has less. No, maybe it does. No, that's because you had the Z1 Extreme version, right? The same one that
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And
You get-
the funny thing about this is that we have a OS that's free, able to give you better performance and better battery life. You know, we have an OS that's been supported by a multi-billion-dollar corporation, or is it higher? I don't know. The multi-billion-dollar
$1 trillion
corporation and
$3 trillion
$1
corporation.
yeah, I forgot my numbers about them, but like if we were to just like take out all the avenues where let's say for example you can't get like a Windows key for like $20 off of freaking the Green Man Gamer or something like that, and the only way for you to get a license is to purchase straight from Microsoft, that's $200. You're paying $200 for an OS that runs worse than Linux. So like there's got to be some sort of expectation where like you either equal to Linux or you're better than Linux, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I got to say about that. They just need to like step up their game, invest their money into certain areas that definitely needs improvement, because I feel like a good amount of companies just don't know how to manage their own money, which is why they're having a whole bunch of layoffs to begin with and stuff. And with that, that's a whole another can of worms to begin with too. So let's end it off with that, you know.
Okay. Yeah, the Steam OS version of the Legion Go OS was 16 gigs, and the Z2 Go chip is $599. The Windows version, they have 232 gigs, but one of them has the Z2 Go chip that's $729.99, and then the Z1 Extreme chip is $899.99. And then of course the Legion Go OS 32 gig Z1 Extreme is $829.99, which is the one that Brian has. Be happy to see what he thinks about that. But yeah, like Xbox. Yeah, unfortunately, they're Sega now. They took on the Sega role with getting a controller like Sega, giving you those Sega-like experience, and they definitely turned into Sega in the end.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Which I'm like, I wasn't really expecting them to become Sega, to be honest with you. So
What if
I don't know.
Sega decides to come back into the game and announce the Dreamcast 2 with Power Stone 3 as a launch game?
Liking where your head's at.
I say this.
That'd be tough to do because they're doing so well as a software like only company now.
Yeah, true.
It's only gonna capture the older audience with that release. I don't think it's gonna bode well with the modern audience, which that's probably gonna be like a one-time release thing, and that's pretty much it. So.
Like Power Stone 3, Sonic Adventure 1 remade in Unreal Engine 5, or Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 remade. I don't know.
Shenmue remake.
Yeah, Shenmue remade in Unreal Engine 5. A real remake that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. One could dream. Anyways, I was gonna mention also the Capcom Spotlight, but like did anybody here get to watch it at all?
I did.
I heard about it.
Yeah, we watched it.
I watched a little bit of it.
It was
I mean, they showed Street Fighter 6 stuff, a lot of stuff about Pragmata, which was kind of cool.
the Pragmata
You
stuff
get more information about
was
the
good.
little girl. She's a robot.
Yeah, she's
an
an
android.
android.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
Pragmata
then
actually
a lot of stuff about Wilds.
Yeah,
Monster Hunter Wilds.
that was Brian's
or-
favorite segment. I was hoping that he watched that.
I almost didn't show up to the
Yeah.
podcast because I
The-
passed out from being so
The
excited.
the only thing that like I took away from it that I thought was interesting was Resident Evil Requiem, where you can go from first person to third person, like whenever you want.
Yeah, which they announced also in a like press release too after. Like the Resident Evil Requiem stuff was actually stuff we already knew, which I was kind of saddened about.
Yeah.
They showed a little bit of new footage, but not too much. Street Fighter 6 was like Sagat like stuff. New like costumes, like they're doing like the swimsuit costumes. You had Pragmata, they showed a lot of more on that. And actually originally I wasn't excited for it, but after watching that extra gameplay footage, I'm actually excited for it now. Like I can't wait for that game. I still don't know if it's a day one buy, but something that I definitely want to look forward to and like kind of look at. And then there was something else they showed. Oh, Kinutsugami, whatever. They showed that
Yeah.
After
off.
the goddess.
Yes,
Goddess.
they showed that off,
wait.
but
Is there an update for it or something? Or
yeah,
Just
there's
DLC, additional content, like some free, some I think you have to pay for.
what's funny is they showed off this like new like item you can get in the game that turns all the music into 8-bit renditions. And I think the 8-bit renditions sound way better than the actual music that they have in the game. I was listening to it, I was like, man, this is actually I can listen to this. This was on like the Nintendo Music app. I would definitely listen to this because it sounded pretty dope. It sounded better than their orchestrated version of the songs. But yeah, it wasn't nothing too out there. I was hoping for more Requiem type of stuff. As of an hour ago, actually, I don't know if Brian, if you have any updates on this, but I know Arc System Works had their thing that just happened. I don't know if there's any news on there.
Yeah, they announced a new Bubble Bobble game or something, and then they also announced Double Dragon Revival or something, like a new Double Dragon game. And that's all I remember is just those two things.
Okay. Let me see. Oh yeah, Double Dragon Revive. I like the art style for the that cover art style. It's pretty
What
dope.
Arc System Works with a cool art style? Who'd have thought?
Yeah, right. I was hoping for like Dragon Ball Fighters too, but they didn't announce that. Let me see. I'm gonna try to browse through here and see what they got. What is this? Is this the Japanese one? Maybe it was all in Japanese. I think it was. Oh yeah, they had that collection. They're showing off that collection that they had.
Dude, a lot of these like beat 'em up games are coming back, and I'm kind of for it, you know,
Yeah.
because that's kind of what I grew up playing. I'd
Mhm.
like to see more. Like, I'd like to see them come back out with the new Battletoads. That'd be fun.
They did already new Battletoads.
Yeah,
Like,
they did.
not in like the did they? I don't remember.
Yeah,
that.
Microsoft.
Yeah,
did
it was on
yeah.
Xbox. It was Microsoft. Yeah,
Yeah, exclusive.
it's pretty good.
Yeah, they did that. Let's see what are they showed here. I'm just trying to skim through this before we end the podcast. Just see if there was anything cool. Oh, that looks really dope. I'm looking at the Double Dragon Revive footage. That looks really, really cool.
It's different from like the 8-bit like side scrolling that people have been
Yeah.
coming out with. So I'm like, that's kind of
Something
a
new.
nice take
Yeah,
on
it's
it.
modern.
Yeah.
More modern graphics. Like is what I would think a new Street of Rage will look like. Or actually, no, when they showed off that scene, well, I guess the new Street of Rage that Sega's supposed to be working on is 3D. But it looks cool. Yeah, I like that. What's funny is I think Arc System, no, maybe Arc Systems didn't do it, but they did the Grand Blue, the fighting game, the Grand Blue Fantasy fighting game. I forgot what the name of that one's called. And in that fighting game, there's the whole story mode is literally a beat 'em up. Like you're playing your character and you just side scroll and go through the missions, and then you have a boss at the end, and then it turns into the normal fighting game.
Yeah, what was that game? It was
There's
kind of like
Grand
had
Blue
like some
Fantasy
gotcha.
Relink.
Yeah,
Oh,
it had like some gotcha elements to it too.
Well, the
Kind
Relink
of.
one is the other one. That
Is
one's
that the
more,
RPG?
Yeah, it's the RPG one. It's the fighting
Is
one. I
it
forgot what it's called.
Versus?
Yes, Versus. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Grand Blue Fantasy
Yeah,
Versus.
who would have thought?
Yeah, exactly, right? But yeah, the whole story mode for that one is just literally a beat 'em up, which was pretty cool. And you could do that 2 players as well, which is even better. Like that was pretty awesome. I did like the story mode for that. Yeah, Arc System Works didn't show much. They showed off the Hunter x Hunter game too that they have going out, which I've never watched Hunter x Hunter. I gotta watch it. I hear it's pretty good.
Heard it's good.
It's good.
Yeah, the Yu Yu
Uh,
Hakusho creator is the one who made that. So
There's 2 different versions. Obviously, they re-released with updated animations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they cut out some of the fillers from the original release.
let's see what else. Under Night in Birth. What a name. I don't even know what that means. But there's a game called Under Night in Birth that they showed off.
Hey, the Switch 2 game that the Arc System Works showcased.
What's Switch 2 game?
It just looks like one of those like Life is Strange, type of games. Like it's just story, life stuff. But hey, new Switch 2 game.
Yeah.
The Dear Me I Was, that one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that definitely sounds like a Life is Strange game without even watching the trailer. That's interesting. Okay.
Alrighty, cool. We're gonna go ahead and end the podcast right here. Appreciate everybody for joining us. Wasn't, not the biggest topics today. I think the biggest thing was just where Xbox is, and of course, kind of, letting everybody know where we're at in terms of what we've been playing. I'm gonna go ahead and after this podcast continue some Death Stranding, and next week we'll see how far I get when it comes to next week. But we'll definitely be keeping our eyes out because we are getting to July, which we hope Nintendo does a Nintendo Direct and kind of shows us what's going on in the future. Wow, this guy looks like Todoroki from My Hero. Sorry, I'm watching that Dear Me I Was, or whatever the heck that I just said the name was that. But anyways, appreciate everybody for joining. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. If you're over on Twitch, follow on Twitch. If not, vice versa, swap around, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Twitch, all that other good stuff. I will probably redo my Nintendo Switch video again and hopefully release it this time. I might change the days I pull out my video though, because I do gotta admit that I am kind of getting like almost writer's block at the same time, but for video editing. And it's like I have this thing where when I get into something and I do something and I know I could have done it better, I want to start from scratch and redo everything from scratch. But at the same time, like I get to that and I kind of get not depressed, but I'm like, man, I suck, right? I get to that mindset where like I just suck. I don't want to do this.
Believe in yourself, James.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the video. Like that's another reason why I've restarted my video, because I watch it, I edit it, and I look at it, I'm like, wow, man, like I don't like it. And then I just delete everything off my camera and just start from scratch, except for my B-roll, because B-roll takes forever to record. I kept the B-roll because I like it. It's good, and it's just B-roll. But like, everything else about it, I don't know. But I will have hopefully a video this week if I don't get into. I'm trying to get into that mode of, I don't know, I like to do this because I have videos to do. I know I have them even written down. I have like what videos to do and so forth. I still got to do the Retro Pocket video and all that. And I have everything written down that I need to do. It's just I record it and I stop. So I apologize for not having videos. I do appreciate everybody who watches our streams after the fact, because we are getting a lot of views after the fact for our live streams. Even subscribers, we're getting a lot of subscribers after that, and even subscribers watching my old content. So I do appreciate that. Thanks for always watching and supporting the channel and the podcast and all that stuff. But yeah, share the channel, have people come in. I will continue to do content. Appreciate everybody for sticking around. Brian, where can they catch you at?
I am at Red So Deep on Blue Sky.
What about you, Ash?
You can find me at Esther on YouTube.
What about you, Fan?
Yeah, you can catch me at Phaneckswhy at all the known socials.
And as always, you can catch me right here at the Random Encounter. I don't know what I'm gonna stream Wednesday. Or actually, I do know. I'm gonna finish Link's Awakening because I was playing that yesterday. And what's funny is I didn't realize where I was in Link's Awakening. I think I told Bryant that I was lost. I didn't know what to do. And then next thing you know, like I booted up my file. I was like, oh, I'm here at the last dungeon. Like I don't know why I was thinking I was lost. I don't know why. But I just beat that dungeon, and now I have to go to the Windfish and wake him up or do his little segment there. And then after that,
Then you got to get back to Echoes of Wisdom at some point too.
Yep, I'm gonna do Echoes of Wisdom right after that. So since I'm at the end of Link's Awakening, I'll do that. you are right. It looks amazing on the Switch 2. It runs a lot better on the Switch 2. I do like it on there, and I'm excited to see how Echoes of Wisdom runs in place because that's an art style that in the beginning I was like, I don't know about, but like it really does shine on the Switch too. Like with its up resolution, its better frame rate, it does shine, and I kind of makes me want another game in that style, maybe an Oracle game. But yeah.
Does it look
Anyways,
nice and portable?
huh? Does
Does
it
it
look
look
nice
nice
and
and portable?
portable? I haven't tried it in portable.
Looks great. I
Because
have. It looks
Okay.
great.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because those I want to do specifically to stream. I didn't do Death Stranding for stream because copyright music, one. Yeah, right away I was like, right when I booted it up, I was like, oh yeah, that's why. That's a good reason why I didn't do Death Stranding because right away that would be like copyright struck, and I don't want to deal with any of that. Anyways, thanks for watching.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you, fan. Thank you,
Sorry,
Ash. Thank you, Bryant. What were you gonna say, Ash?
I was gonna say Kojima should add a feature where it disables copyrighted music. There's certain games that do
Yeah.
that, so that way streamers are more comfortable actually streaming the game.
I should look and see if they did, but it kind of takes away from the game though, because the
Does.
songs
Oh,
that they
really? Oh,
the
man.
songs that they play kind of mean something. He didn't just drop like copyright music just to drop it. No, they do mean something.
Oh, okay, I get it. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
All right. Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys next time.